Hey guys, Dark Humility here. We have a new build on the closed beta for Season 10. A new mini guide and demo. This is the Fists of Fire Assassin. They fixed the damage bug finally in Season 10. You know what that means? That means this is now a very formidable martial arts build. It is one of the coolest looking builds, and also its firing is an absolute nuclear bomb of damage. This thing has no issues whatsoever putting out that crazy damage. So we're going to show you all the ins and outs of this build here and how to make sure that you have fun smashing on the assassin in Season 10. Let's go over the stats, skills, the gear, and then let's do some demos if we can. Last video we had some server issues, so it was like about a minute of dead time in that video. It kind of sucked, so hopefully it doesn't happen in this one, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, let's get started. So anyway, we have stats. Enough strength to wear your gear, enough dex to wear your gear. AR is kind of important, but since you have conviction on the mercenary, as long as you do, that is, you have the negative target defense, so it's not insane. But you do want to usually hit around like 9 to 10,000 AR. It's definitely going to help proccing the effects and hitting your damage. The rest of the points can go into vitality. Max block is going to be claw block on this particular build approach. You can do Phoenix and Stalker's Cull as well, and that has better sustain. And I definitely would recommend that approach for hardcore, to go like max block on Phoenix, maybe use Steel Shade or Titan's Grip or something and get max block. We're not going to be doing that in this demo, but that's definitely a viable approach and a very valid approach on this build for sustain. Otherwise, you're going to probably want a lot of LPK or something to sustain. This build, I'm just going to show off the damage. It's not going to sustain probably very well. I don't even have Drax or anything. I don't have a lot of LPK. I have a little bit of LPK from a corruption, but that's about it. Anyway, we're going to have vitality, and then of course you're going to see the res. Res ideally would be maxed. In my case, I just don't have enough corruptions. Limitations of closed beta sometimes make it difficult to min-max those survivability and sustain stats. So good stuff on that front. Of course, we also have... Let's see. Oh yeah, so of course we also have right here, we've got some other very important stats. So we have FHR, that's important. Block is really good. Block frames are definitely a thing somewhat on this build. That's why I was mentioning Steel Shade. You can go 20% block rate. I do recommend maybe getting at least up to 32 block rate. I think I'm going to play this with just 20% and see how it goes. But you'll see the demo just how crazy the damage is. You definitely want decent faster block rate though. Very important so you don't get block locked and kind of messed up on an assassin. You're going to want Leech is somewhat helpful, especially if you use Blade Shield, but the LPK and the MPK is definitely more helpful, the mana per kill and life per kill. You're going to want maximum attack speed. Burst of speed can help with that quite a bit. If you're using Fade though on hardcore, you're going to need more attack speed on your gear and on corruptions. Fade is very good for hardcore because of first duration reduction, DR, and all res. Anyway, let's go to the skills. So on the skills here, you're definitely going to want your Claw and Dagger Mastery. You're going to want Burst of Speed, and then of course max that out for the AR. That's very important for the attack rating especially. I get a lot of weapon blocks so that I block pretty well. Shadow Master can help here and there. Cloak of Shadows can prove to be pretty instrumental in preventing death in some very crucial situations. And then of course Blade Shield could be good at proccing some leeches and whatnot. I don't have really any other procs though on this build, so it's not like insanely important to have Blade Shield on this particular martial build, but it's actually pretty good. As you know from Innocence, Blade Shield is very powerful at proccing everything, so it's very good if you use the Innocence rune word a lot. Fists of Fire has new synergies in Season 10, so it's got Dragonflight, Tiger Strike, and Fists of Fire. Dragonflight is a nice one, but you already have it from an item that lowers the cooldown of Dragonflight, which is why Stalker's Coal is so good. As a matter of fact, you can even justify in some martial builds using 2 of these things, because lowering your Dragonflight cooldown will make you move through a map like a juggernaut, like butter. That's basically it. You can always put more points into Shadow Master. You can put more points in Burst of Speed. You could use Fade instead of Burst of Speed. There's a lot of options in the Shadow Tree. And of course, you can also get Blade Shield as well. And gear. Mercenary. Best in slot on this character, since you're doing pretty much exclusively fire damage, is going to be some kind of Infinity or Infinity Merc for real. So also something that can survive. So Act 2 is really good at surviving. You can get Defiance Aura or you can get Blessed Aim. I'm kind of lacking attack rating, so I gave him Blessed Aim. And of course, we have Infinity. We have Flickering Flame, which actually does add to our damage. You'll see that fire plus skills and percent fire damage and fire pierce is very important on martial builds. Traps, pierce doesn't work. Martial builds, it does. But you'll notice that I do get damage, though. About 1k from the Flickering Flame, so that's kind of cool. You could also use Ferocity and Innocence, though, if you want to taunt the monsters, which can add to survivability and possibly make the build even smoother. But I'm going to use a little bit of a cheaper approach and show you guys how to just crush with this particular setup. You got Lava Gouts, you got String of Ears, and you got Gore Riders as well for Merc sustain. Some extra enchant on striking, so you can get your AR a little bit higher when the Merc attacks. And then, just in general, make sure the Merc survives everything you're going to be jumping into along with you. Getting that damage reduction, getting that res up, getting the life leech up. Very important stuff. Of course, we also now have the Stalker's Coal, and we have the Fire Lord's Talons. Both of which are really good for this build. You could use 2 of these, you could use 1 of these and the other ones. I think you could also go Bartux, of course, as well, but the thing about Fire Lord's Talons is that it's insanely good on fire. As you can see, it gives you negative fire res to begin with, on top of fire skills, so you get more skills than Bartux. You can even get a +1 corruption. You can get other corruptions as well instead of 3 sockets. Obviously, facets are really good. Stalkers gives you that cooldown reduction on Dragonflight, really key for moving through the map quickly. And then I put fire facets in that as well. Also Arcane. This is just an all damage build, so it's kind of cool. You got Arcane, you have fire facets there as well. And you have Kira's with fire facets. Steel Shade is also really good because of the block rate and the extra block it can add to the claws. So Steel Shade is really good, and you can put like a Chan Rune and fire facets in that. Kira's, though, has the advantage of giving you CBF, though, cannot be frozen. Also a lot of potential negative fire res and res as well. Rising Sun, gonna get some extra damage, and since it's a martial ability, that negative enemy fire res will come clutch. You can use Hellmouths. I'm gonna use a 220 gloves though. If you use Hellmouth, you're gonna have to dump a lot more points into Burst of Speed, or alternatively, you're going to have to get more attack speed or corruptions. Life per kill on MPK is really big on a build like this. Leech is also decently effective. But plus skills are obviously insane. Bulk Hathos is definitely a staple on a lot of martial builds because of the life leech and the skill. You're going to get DR as well from Dungos. You could use some other things. String isn't as effective though, because once again, life leech isn't as effective. You can use string though. I like DR though somewhere on this build, otherwise it might be way too painful. You could use a rack if you want to greed on damage insanely hard, but I probably don't recommend it. And then there you have it. You know, some Dex of the Claws, faster block rate, so I have some FBR at least. I think 32 is really smooth on Ascend though. We'll see how it goes with the Kiras, but you know, you can see what you like, see what you don't like. Martial GCs, since these abilities do so much damage, LCs aren't really that important. If you want your res and you want to just use martial GCs, and you can use life, res, or whatever you want down there. Assassin Torch and an Annie. And of course, CTA and Lidless on swap, like on most builds. Here we go. Let's do it. Let's do a cow demo and then show her off in a couple more maps, and that will be it for this mini guide and demo. Hopefully you guys enjoy this insanely fun build. I am a huge fan. You want this with the poison version? The poison version, nothing happened to it too much this season. But the poison version is equally as formidable as this version. When the tier list comes out at the end of open beta or after open beta ends, you guys can see just how insane that version of the build is as well. And obviously, I'm also going, I think I'm going to do Blades of Ice as well because it's a rework, so I'm going to show that off in a video, which is always cool. But I think I'm going to leave Cobra Strike off in terms of like a build video this season, but Cobra Strike is very similar. It has other options too though, so you can do Bartux, you can do Stalkers, and you can do double Stalkers just like on all the martial builds for the most part. But of course you can also do Plague because you have lower resist on that, and you have Cleansing. Plague, by the way, is the claw for hardcore, so if you don't want to get amped, you got two options. You can go Fade or you can go Cleansing. So just keep that in mind. Also remember on all these builds you don't need to go double claw. You can absolutely go like Storm Shield, for instance. You can be really tanky. You can go DR. You don't need to go claw block. And you can be insanely tanky. Your damage will be a bit lower because you'll lack some plus skills, but it's still insanely effective throughout the game. And I know this because I've done it on hardcore, and it's, yeah, tier 3 maps, super good. Anyway, let's go. Look at that fire ring damage, absolutely devastating. You can see that Stalker's cooldown coming in clutch. Remember, you can go 2 of these things on some builds, like Phoenix Strike, for instance. A lot of nice marksman. The cows fall down and they can't get up. Absolutely. The cows fall down and they can't get up. I don't know, this is such a sick build now. As you can see though, you can do the meteors if you get all 3 charges, but the fire ring is insane. Absolutely awesome builds, man. You'll notice that with the block rate I have, sometimes it's a little clunky, but it's alright. At least I have some block rate. Assassins have good block frames in general though, so as long as they're not at 0, you should be alright. Just like Amazons do. Alright, let's do some more map demos. Let's do, let's see. Can we do Throne of Insanity without getting absolutely, told shocked? Let's find out. There's no fire immunes in this map, so... You used to only have fire immunes, actually, so... You guys haven't been around a bit. Might be a little confusing. I could use the Mars if I'm worried about survivability. I mean, this is, you know, there's a lot of options for every build, so... I'm used to doing testing. I keep trying to do kills all. I don't need to do that. I already did the testing. And here, by the way, when you're up against dangerous archers, don't be afraid to pop the oh shit button. AKA, Cloak of Shadows. Oh shit, the archer's got crazy auras. You know? That kind of stuff. Even a tanky version of this build might want to pop the oh shit button sometimes. Using a shield or whatnot. Recast the shadow. In this map, I definitely feel the lack of that block rate. Definitely want the block run. There you go. Of course, with a lot more sustain, keep in mind that you can use Phoenix as well. So Stalker's Coal plus Phoenix is a really good combo as well if you don't want to go Claw Block. And that helps a lot with the sustain. Ah! Okay. Man, that holy freeze is real. That was nasty. Alright, we're gonna kill the boss. Horizon doesn't stand a chance. Hey, and look, we're back in Blood Moon. Now, what's really cool this season about Horizon events, if you didn't see the patch notes, is that Season 10, which is on October 25th, Horizon events are actually runnable now. So this is a cow level, so it doesn't really show it. But monster immunities are all sundered, kind of like in D2R. They don't have immunities in the new one, which is actually really sick. So there's no immunities. Oh, we just found a Shaco, nice. No immunities in a Horizon map. Which is really cool, I think, because let's say you're playing a build and you get a map that you normally can't run from Horizon, you would just ignore it usually. Now you can run it. Anyway, let's see. Let's go to another test here. That was a pretty dangerous test for such a squishy version of the build, but you know, we survived. The Merc survived. We were alright. It's okay. It's pretty rough, though. Now, we could do the new map as well. Gonna do a lot of cool maps. Yeah, let's do... Yeah, this map's fine, I think. I mean, it might hurt a little bit. It's okay. This one's got archers, too. Because, you know, gotta put archers in all the maps so that you die. Very important. Okay. Indeed, indeed, indeed. As you can see, though, we're going good. GG stuff, guys. Alright, hopefully you guys enjoyed this test or this mini guide and demo. The Fists of Fire Assassin. Sick build, right? I agree. Anyway, guys, GG, and see you guys in the next one. The Doctor in the Mad Lab has got more to do, and the Mad Lab Doctor is over and out. Let's get it. Crush it. See you guys with the Season 10 tier list at the end of Open Beta, and see you guys in the Season 10, October 25th. Let's crush it. Let's smash it. Boom.